Hi students, this is the presentation of the subject Computer Networks CS 8591. This is second unit Data Link Layer and Media Access. Myself Nancy John J. First we see about IEEE 802.11, that is Wi-Fi. IEEE has defined the specifications for a wireless LAN called IEEE 802.11, which covers the physical and data link layers. It is sometimes called wireless Ethernet. In some countries, including the United States, the public uses the term Wi-Fi, that is wireless fidelity, as a synonym for wireless LAN. Wi-Fi, however, is a wireless LAN that is certified by the Wi-Fi Alliance, in a global non-profit industry association of more than 300 member companies devoted to promoting the growth of wireless LANs. First we see about the architecture. IEEE 802.11 defines the basic service set, that is BSS, as the building blocks of a wireless LAN. A basic service set is made of stationary or mobile wireless stations and an optional central base station known as the access point. In an ad hoc architecture, stations can form a network without the need of an AP. They can locate one another and agree to be part of a BSS. A BSS with an AP is sometimes referred to as an infrastructure BSS. Here we have the representation of ad hoc BSS and infrastructure BSS. Next is extended service set, that is ESS. An extended service set is made up of two or more BSS with an APs. The extended service set uses the two types of stations, mobile and stationary. The mobile stations are normal stations inside a BSS. The stationary stations are AP stations that are part of a wired LAN. Here we have the representation of a ESS. Next we see about the station types. IEEE 802.11 defines three types of stations based on their mobility in a wireless LAN. The three types of stations are no transition mobility, BSS transition mobility, ESS transition mobility. A station with no transition mobility is either stationary or moving only inside a BSS. A station with BSS transition mobility can move from one BSS to another, but the movement is confined inside one ESS. A station with ESS transition mobility can move from one ESS to another. IEEE 802.11 defines two MAC sublayers, that is distributed coordination function and point coordination function. Network allocation vector. When a station sends an RTS frame, it includes the duration of time that it needs to occupy the channel. The stations that are affected by this transmission create a timer called a network allocation vector NAV that shows how much time must pass before these stations are allowed to check the channel for idleness. Each time a station accesses the system and sends an RTS frame, the other stations start their NAV. In other words, each station, before sensing the physical medium to see if it is idle, first checks its NAV to see if it has expired. The point coordination function is an optional access method that can be implemented in an infrastructure network. It is implemented on top of DCF and is used mostly for time-sensitive transmission. PCF has a centralized contention-free polling access method. And this is the representation of frame of PCF. The various fields of PCF are explained here. The FC field is 2 bytes long and defines the type of frame and some control information. Following table describes the subfields. Version. It gives the current version and the current version is 0. Type of information. For management it is 00. Control 01 and data 10. Subtype of each type. To DS defined later. From DS defined later. More frag when set to 1 means more fragments. Retry when set to 1 means retransmitted frame. Power management when set to 1 means station is in power management mode. More data when set to 1 means station has more data to send. Web wired equivalent privacy. RSVD, that is reserved. Next is the frame types. Three types of frame. Management frame are used for the initial communication between stations and access points. Next, data frames are used for carrying data and control information. Next, control frames are used for accessing the channel and acknowledging frames. Here is the representation of RTS and CTS or acknowledgement. Next is the addressing mechanism. The IEEE 802.11 addressing mechanism specifies 4 cases defined by the value of the 2 flags in the FC field, to, DS and from. Each flag can be either 0 or 1, resulting in 4 different situations. Address 1 is always the address of the next device that the frame will visit. Address 2 is always the address of the previous device that the frame has left. Address 3 is the address of the final destination station. Address 4 is the original source when the distribution system is also wireless. This table represents the various address formats. In this figure, in the first case, that is the case 1, in this case, to DS is equal to 0 and from DS is equal to 0. This means that the frame is not going to the distribution system and is not coming from the distribution system. From the previous table, this case 2 is to DS is equal to 0 and from DS is equal to 1. This means that the frame is coming from the distribution system. The frame is coming from an AP and going to a station. From the previous table, the third case is to DS is equal to 1 and from DS is equal to 0. This means that the frame is going to a distribution system. The frame is going from a station to an AP. And the fourth case in the table, that is to DS is equal to 1 and from DS is equal to 1. This is the case in which the distribution system is also wireless. The frame is going from one AP to another in a wireless distribution system. Next, we are going to see the exposed station problem in this given figure. Station A is transmitting to station B. Station C has some data to send to station D, which can be sent without interfering with the transmission from A to B. So here A is sending an RTS message to B and B is willing to receive the message, so it is sending the CTS. Then A is sending data to the station B. So this is the actual procedure happening in this figure. The station C is exposed to transmission from A. It hears that A is sending and thus refrains from sending. In other words, C is too conservative and wastes the capacity of the channel. The handshaking messages RTS and CTS cannot help in this case. Station C hears the RTS from A and refrains from sending, even though the communication between C and D does not cause any collision in the zone between A and C. Station C cannot know that Station A's transmission does not affect the zone between C and D. This is exposed station problem. Next is IEEE 802.11 FHSS. FHSS uses the frequency hopping spread spectrum method. The band is divided into 79 subbands of 1 MHz. A pseudo-random number generator selects the hopping sequence. The modulation technique in this specification is either 2-level FSK or 4-level FSK with 1 or 2 bits per baud, which results in a data rate of 1 or 2 Mbps. IEEE 802.11 DSSS. IEEE 802.11 DSS uses the direct sequence spread spectrum method. DSSS uses the 2.400 to 4.835 GHz ISM band. The modulation technique in this specification is PSK at 1 M baud per second. The system allows 1 or 2 bits per band, that is BPSK or QPSK, which results in a data rate of 1 or 2 Mbps. This is IEEE 802.11 infrared. It uses infrared light in the range of 800 to 950 nm. The modulation technique is called pulse position modulation. Next is IEEE 802.11a OFDM. Describes the orthogonal frequency division multiplexing method for signal generation in a 5.725 to 5.850 GHz ISM band. IEEE 802.11b DSSS describes the high rate direct sequence spread spectrum HRDSSS method for a signal generation in the 2.400 to 4.835 GHz ISM band. IEEE 802.11g. This new specifications defines forward error correction and OFDM using the 2.400 to 4.835 GHz ISM band. IEEE 802.11n. An upgrade to the 802.11 project is called 802.11n. That is the next generation of wireless LAN. The goal is to increase the throughput of 802.11 wireless LANs. The new standard emphasizes not only the higher bitrate but also eliminating some unnecessary overhead. The standard uses what is called MIMO, that is multiple input, multiple output antenna to overcome the noise problem in wireless LANs. Here is some part A questions covered in this topic. First one, mention the various architecture in a LAN. LAN is dominated by four architectures: Ethernet, token bus, token ring, fiber distributed data interface, that is FDDI. Next question, define a standard 802.3. IEEE 802.3 supports a LAN standard originally developed by Xerox and later extended by a joint venture between Digital Equipment Corporations, Intel Corporation and Xerox. This was called Ethernet. Third question, list the most common kinds of base band 802.3 LAN. That is 10 base 5, 10 base 2, 10 base T, 1 base 5, 100 base T. Next question, mention the different kinds of Ethernet networks. This switched Ethernet, fast Ethernet and gigabit Ethernet. Next question, describe the three HDLC station types. First one, primary station. The primary station has the complete control of a link. Primary station sends commands to the secondary station. Next is secondary station, which sends responses. Next is the combined station, is one which acts either as a primary or a secondary depending upon the nature and direction of the transmission. Combined station sends both commands and responses. Next is what is piggybacking. Piggybacking means combining data to send an acknowledgement of the frame received in one single frame. Piggybacking can save bandwidth because the overhead from a data frame and an acknowledgement frame can be combined into just one frame. Next question, name the four types of S frames. First one, the receive ready, that is RR, receive not ready, RNR, reject REJ, selective reject SREJ.